Hey, welcome back. My name is Dino. This video is on Mishra's article, and it's more specifically about the concept of why educational technology fails. And it's going to begin to explore different reasons for why there are ed tech failures. First, I'll start off with the definition. I love definitions. It's like the table setting. It's the tablecloth of the table. A quote, this is from UNESCO, quote, a systematic way of designing, carrying out, and evaluating the total process of learning and teaching in terms of specific objectives and employing a combination of human and technical resources to bring about more effective instruction. Thank you, UNESCO. Let me say that in more of a human way by going over some of the major characteristics, if you will. These were from the UNESCO definition. I pull from that it's systematic. It includes designing, carrying out, and evaluating. It's not just like, hey, look, that's a laptop. Let's see what it does. It's designing an educational initiative involving technology, executing it, having it be worked on by students, and then evaluating it. It's holistic. There's a combination of human and technical resources. It is learning focused in the sense that it deals with effective instruction. And this is not specifically from the definition, but from the bigger framing. It is a relatively short history for the definition and a short history for the field. This actual definition is from 74, so it's sort of implying that hasn't been around super long in the ways that we think about educational technology. Although you can make an argument that it's been around for way longer, depending on how you define a technology. Adoption. Quote, the introduction of the use of the talking picture into education may prove to be an event as epochal as the application of the principle of the wheel to transportation or the application of steam power to the industrial age. That's by Devereaux within Mishra. What do you think of that tone of my not so much my voice, but that quote, and also the year that Devereaux wrote this? When I ask these questions, you may want to pause the video if you need some time, because I'm going to roll with it. The answer, friends, is I think it sounds a bit hyperbolic. The talking picture, like a film, is like the wheel in transportation or steam power to the industrial age. So I think it's maybe overselling with the talking picture and generally educational technology. And the year is 1933, so it's quite a while ago. We're getting close to 100 years. And I would argue that the hyperbole still persists. And in some ways, because of the breadth and reach of technology, it's even bigger and badder. Why is it important for us to think about the history of educational technology? Here's a couple of reasons. First, quote, first, even though our moment in history may seem unique, the trends and issues are similar in many respects to those of earlier generations. Second, looking back brings a level of humility to the discussion about the effects of technology to educational practice. From this all, history can help us analyze the present and future more honestly, with a sense of humility, with showing that the travails we go through every day with our technology is not something new. Maybe it gives some of us hope. Who knows? I'm going to talk about 3 million failures right now. Failure number 1. Let's start there. This is again from Mishra, quote, using the newest technology such as cell phones or talking pictures in ways that are instructionally effective requires specific knowledge of how the technology can be used for pedagogical purposes. And I give you again one of these open-ended questions. Why is specific knowledge not taught or shared? Again, you may want to pause here. The reasons, the research is both ongoing. It's been going on for a while and will continue in the future. And it's somewhat limited because history is not super long. And the reason that the research is ongoing is that technology always changes. New technology means no research into that new technology. Also, there's the idea of limited budgets, staff, and time. Without those things, training can be compromised and there is less experimentation being done. Failure 2 of 3. Quote, use of new technology often faces resistance from educators who believe that they perhaps do more harm than good. Why would there be this resistance? Again, you might want to pause and think about that. I would say there's inexperience with the technology and fear. Nothing makes people a bit more apprehensive than using a piece of technology that's complex and they don't know anything about. Another reason for resistance is that they might have limited budget, facilities, and time to enact the use, practice, and deployment of these technologies. And there can also be a culture of inertia, meaning things don't change, and failure, meaning there's things that have happened in the past that, oh, this is another thing that's not going to work. And we need to try to foster the idea of embracing some kind of change and embracing success, although that's way easier for me to say that than for it to happen. How do you overcome this resistance? Again, time to pause. How would you overcome this resistance? Here are some ideas. You have increased capital for purchasing technology and increased budget for the operations like training. That can help for people that don't have access to or not proper knowledge of these technologies. Ongoing professional development and support. Just having one big session for a couple hours in September, not again over the course of the year, may not be the best way. Having something at least on a monthly basis may be more useful. Finally, you might want to foster a positively critical culture with open dialogue where you embrace technology but are skeptical of its uses, and you want to have it used in the way that makes sense for you and the people in your organization, whatever that is. Number 3, most innovations have focused inordinately on the technology rather than more fundamental issues of how to approach teaching subject matter with these technologies. Why do you think this poor focus? Why, oh why, oh why? Why focus on the technology, not on teaching with these technologies? 2 reasons. First, the complexity of the situation, they're kind of interwoven. Installing tech is relatively easy. You just need a lot of money and some space, and if you have a lot of money, you can do whatever you want. And you need time, obviously, to install it all. However, the proper use of that by a diverse workforce and cognitive abilities, experiences, ages, previous training, uses, etc., that's really complex. And then all of this is a bit cynical, but I think it's somewhat justified given today's world where money talks, is the idea of optics and PR. What looks better in a shiny newsletter that you want to have to prospective students, prospective investors, proud alumni? One of a shiny new lab where you have the students are greatly dressed, looking all eager and gathered around the newest gizmo, or a weekend training session where all the faculty is a bit grizzled, and because it's the weekend they're not feeling so good, and they might have enjoyed themselves too much heavily over after the Super Bowl or something, and they're wearing their track pants and they got like coffee spills on them, and just completely disheveled. The first one looks way better, and if you want to attract an audience, new students, prospective new faculty, investors, etc., the first certainly looks better. I'm not saying the grizzled faculty aren't great looking, but great looking in your own way. A couple more points, takeaways. On the history of educational technology, it is relatively new, and the history is relatively recent, and it's constantly changing. Yay or nay. The hyperbolic language that happened in Devereux's time in the 30s that is around technology still persists today. And there's multiple overlapping reasons for failure. Specific knowledge that is not there, resistance from educators who may not be on board, and the focus inordinately on the technology rather than the people who will be using it. Finally, some questions for you to ponder as you go on your merry way. How do educators implement EdTech in ways that are knowledgeable so that they know what they're doing, that embraces all of the educators, not just some of them, and even the most resistant? If you get those people on side, that's great. And then finally, how do you focus on learners and learning and not just technology? That was why EdtechFails. My name is Dino. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to like this video. Please feel free to comment. Have you been part of an organization where we tried to implement technology and it just wasn't as seamless a fit as you thought? Or the success stories you have? Do you agree with these failures? Do you disagree? Or the failures that you've had that have been so unique you might want to share them? Finally, if you like this type of content, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. As always, thanks for watching. Take care.